second time is the charm. I had a bunch of 3G service, so I restarted my phone, and it's 4G now. I know it won't do very well on 3G, so I'm gonna give it a couple minutes, and then we'll get started. Just enjoy the Interstate 40 East scenery, the Adam and Eve billboard, right before the Repent and Believe on Jesus Christ billboard. The irony is very high. I'd like to welcome our two viewers that are viewing. Both of you are fantastic. This episode is brought to you by Rocky Point's Backwoods Moonshine, the strongest liquor not regulated by the government. We now have 5 viewers. Give it about 30 more seconds and we'll get started. Guys, here we are. I am heading down I-40 East going to Wilmington. Today I am doing preventive maintenance on an apartment complex. There's 4 buildings in the complex, and I'm doing the one main building that houses about 20 to 25 units, and I'm gonna try to knock it out today. And I thought I'd go over, my new plan to work smarter, not harder. Before, when I went into these places, there's 3 different levels on this building, and there's about 6 or 7 units on each level. And then there's some in the hallway and some in the offices and stuff like that. So I started to think, this is really difficult because I'm going up on the top floor. Let's say I'm on the 3rd floor, but you access the roof actually on the 2nd floor. There's a roof hatch on the 2nd floor, and the 3rd floor is kind of offset, so it's half exposed to the roof and half below the roof line for where the units are sitting anyway. So I thought about it and I said, well, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean all the units. What I do is I spray foam them. I have some of that. I don't know if I can reach it from here. I can't, but refrigeration technology stuff. It's like Viper spray cleaner. I'll spray it off. I'll blow out the drain. I'll take the nitrogen with me, just blow out the drain. I'm just going to carry the bottle. I got this little cart we use when we take the kids to ball games. It's like this fold-out cart with a handle on the end. I'm just going to take it with me. Load all that stuff in there so I don't have to carry anything. Have my little DeWalt vacuum cleaner, battery vacuum cleaner, so whenever I use the lab brush to scrape off the evaporator, I can just, vacuum it up real quick. And hopefully that that vacuum will last the entire visit. There's outlets in the hallways if I need to, charge in the vacuum cleaner, but hopefully it'll last just fine. The battery is fully charged, but I only have one battery for it. A good investment would be to get another one, I guess. But just one of the things I haven't got around to doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean each one of them first, the entire building. I'm going to clean them all, blow out the drains, and do all the indoor stuff first. And the problem was before I would have to do like 3 or 4 of them that go up on the roof and test those unit refrigerant pressure, because that's what we're doing. We're cleaning them off inside and testing the refrigerant just to make sure there's refrigerant in it and it looks pretty close to normal. We're not doing calculations on every unit. We're just making sure it's not, 20 PSI, 30 PSI off of where it should be on a day like this particular day, which is going to be, I think, 82 is the high today. But, going up and down takes a lot of time. You're talking about a minute or 2 or 3 just to go up and down once. And if I have to do that every 3 or 4 units, you're basically losing half an hour to an hour by making it last longer. It's more tiring. It sucks more. So I was thinking that what I'll do is I'll just clean them all, and what I'll do is I'll turn the fans on for each one of them. These are single-speed PSC heat pump split systems. That means that I can just turn the fan on and it will run at the same speed it runs during cooling. And when I get to the roof, I'll just jump out the cooling on each unit as I go along. And that'll only take a few extra seconds, and I can just get the alligator clips off and clip the reversing valve and compressor into the red and be done with it and just run it for a few minutes. In fact, I have enough clips, I can just go down the line and do 3 of them at a time and then go through the different units. I like the Viper spray cleaner. I have a pump-up sprayer for the evaporators too. I like the Viper stuff, but if I wanted to save a little bit of money, I could definitely switch to the pump sprayer. The stuff I had that was just green, coil cleaner, biodegradable, real good for the environment stuff. And it doesn't seem to work as well as the Viper, so that's why I continue to use the Viper. Now, I guess I could use a different coil solution with the pump-up sprayer, but for right now, I'm going with the Viper. I might rethink that because buying aerosol cans with coil cleaner in them is definitely going to cost more than buying gallon jugs of coil cleaner. And the aerosol cans create more of a trash nuisance and things like that. So I haven't really planned it out to change that this year, but this PM goes in 3 segments. So maybe I'll change it for the next segment. We'll see. These systems are the apartment systems you see a lot in the videos. They're 1996 Trane TWB split systems. A lot of them are in pretty good shape. Contrary to what sometimes we say, that the Trane systems are very good and they last a long time. Most of the time, the biggest problem with Trane systems is the people that are installing them. They've lasted 20 years now. I changed compressors on a couple of them in the last year. We've changed a few of the systems. I always get the option of changing the system for a little bit of peace of mind, or the repair. The repair is more of a short-term solution because even changing a compressor, you shouldn't expect to get like 10 more years out of it. It might happen, but you shouldn't expect it. But they tend to pick the cheaper route, and that's completely up to them. I write them up a contract that says, hey, compressor change, costs less, more of a short-term solution. Change out the system, more of a permanent solution. But to tell you the truth, in some of these rental places and these apartments, especially in the outlying buildings, the people are so rough on the systems that it's almost not worth it anyway. Because if you change a system, in 5 years they'll never change the filter, and it'll be a royal pain in the ass anyhow, and I can sort of understand where they're coming from. I had to change lanes. I can totally understand it. Rental houses, the people want to fix until it's just, flames are shooting out the side and fucking blowing up. And people sometimes say, why are you doing that? Why don't you replace the system? Because the truth of the matter is that renters are very rough on systems sometimes. Everybody's gone into a rental house and they've gone in there and stepped through the front door and they've smelled the smell and they've seen the stacks of shit on the floor and they've whispered under their breath, I hope I make it out alive. It's one of the things where, hey, let's put these people in a new system. I was talking to Mike the other day. We installed a system about 1.5 years ago, a split heat pump system. And he said he got there the other day to check the other system in the building, and neither one of them had a filter. Brand new split Bryant system, no filter. Putting in new stuff is not always the right solution. It's not going to end up, you say things like, salesmen go in and say things like, hey, it's going to save you some money. And maybe it will in some areas, especially if the system's old and keeps breaking down over and over again. But in some situations, the new systems don't last as long or don't stay as trouble-free as long as they normally would. And you end up, it ends up biting you in the ass. So you got to think about those sort of things. Of course, a lot of things can be beyond repair, and there's nothing you can do about it. But sometimes you have to make one that you normally would change out last a little bit longer, because in the end, renters will beat the shit out of stuff, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, it looks shiny and great when you leave, but I come back to a Heil system I put in a double wide. Had a end coil and a manufactured home end coil with the quick connect fittings on it, and an outdoor unit, and I guess it was 13 SEER. And I came back, and that coil was just filled with shit. It was just covered in dirt. It was horrible. It was like it'd been there for 20 years. I had to end up taking it out and cleaning it. You know, if it would have been much worse, I would have been like, hey, just replace the coil. It's just one of the ones you walk up and you're like, I don't know if this one's coming clean, but you know, you work hard enough on it, it will come clean. But some are like, holy hell, how did this even happen? The complaint was it was leaking water from that unit. And the issue was with the problems with airflow, you have more problems with condensate removal. You have a downflow coil, and the coil, the water has to run off into the little coil trays, and they come off into the front pan and then go down the drain. And if you have dirt and shit all over the unit, sometimes that impedes that water flow, and you get dripping down into the unit, which is what was happening here, and saturating the floor, and then in turn the closet adjacent to this unit. Preventive maintenance is a very important thing. The fact that these apartment ladies do the preventive maintenance for the apartment buildings is very good. I don't think a lot of people do that. I've been to apartment buildings where I was called in to look at these unit installs. They were Goodman unit installs that did not have permitting, and they wanted me to get them permitted and stuff because, my God, if the government doesn't look at it, you know, I just can't sleep at night, guys. But that's what they wanted to do, so I went over there to take a look at it, and sure enough, they were installed by, you know, circus monkeys or some sort of, I don't know, some sort of, you know, circus bear or something like that. I mean, they were sitting, you know, on the old pads, half-altar pads, crooked. They had the wrong size copper going into them. One of them was missing a service valve. Excuse me. Yeah, one of them was missing a service valve. That was something else. Walking around the corner looking at the unit, it's brand new. Service valve's missing. You gotta wonder what happened there. A lot of them didn't have insulation on the line sets coming out. Now, that's not the end of the world. That just indicates that that's the level of installation quality that you got. So I had to go to each one of these. A couple of them I had to repair, and the other ones I just had to kind of dress up a little bit. But the guy who owned the complex came out and said, you know, how's it going? And I told him it was going fine. And I was telling him how some of them probably would need to be replaced because they were these old Heil Whirlpool units, these old green boxes that had side discharge for the condenser fan. So these things were from the, you know, early, mid-'80s, maybe even late '70s. And I'm not sure when the complex was built, but I'm sure it was the original units for the complex. And I said, well, you know, these are all straight cools. You have electric heat on the inside. I said it wouldn't be that much harder to just put a heat pump in. It would just cost just a little bit more money. And, he told me that was not his concern. And that sort of laid the groundwork for what a lot of the rental properties are like. The landlords want to get out as cheap as possible, and the tenants don't give a shit about the stuff because it's not their property, basically. That's not the case across the board, but it is the case a lot of times. Usually the most stank-ass places are landlord-tenant situations. It's interesting because the building I'm going to they have a senior section where the elderly can live in the front main building, which I'm cleaning today. And then they have outlying buildings where younger folks live. The senior building, when I go to clean it, is always the best building of the four. It's the most well kept. The coils are usually relatively clean. The biggest problem I have is when I go out into the other buildings. Now, the other buildings are typically where I find the coils that are coated in crap. Even, I clean them every year, and they still get coated in crap because the filters aren't changed properly. And they're just nasty. And years and years and years, and these slant coils on these first company units will start to fall apart. And you can see where, you know, I could brush them all day, but the aluminum fins are eating away on the bottom where dirt has just sat there and kind of eaten through the fins. And there's not much you can do about that. I mean, ordering replacement parts from First Company is like having a pen pal in Malaysia and waiting for the response. You know, you'll write your letter, send it in the mail, and you'll forget it's coming back by the time it does come back. First Company parts, they weren't that expensive. Like the coils weren't that expensive, but the lead time was 3 weeks. And last time I ordered a First Company coil, it never came, and I just changed the air handler instead. I've ordered some parts from First Company and got them in. The dual shaft blower wheels for the floor mount air handlers. And I have a video, or I had a video on Talon 875 that will eventually be over on Talon 875 Pro, where I changed the blower motor in that particular unit. And they have probably, 4 to 8 of those units. I can't remember exactly how many, because some of the end rooms have those floor mount air handlers. And these aren't the little pancake air handlers. These are ones that have the dual shaft blower in the bottom of them. It's similar to if a pancake air handler was built to be upright instead of flat. It's sort of like that. But I'm rambling on today, guys, so I'm going to stop right here. I'm halfway to town. If I have time later, there's something interesting during the service, I'll fill you in on that. Otherwise, you guys have a great day. Be safe outside. And I'll see you on the next one.